Hari Om. As we come towards the end of chapter 13, Bhagavad Gita, we realize that Bhagwan has said quite a lot about two things, Kshetra, Kshetragyam. That is the world of matter and that of spirit. It seems as if there are two different things, but actually the world of matter exists on the substratum of consciousness. The world of matter, of course, cannot exist without the substratum of consciousness. But consciousness, can it exist without the expression, the outward manifestation of Prakriti or matter? Yes, of course it can, and it does. So, consciousness is not dependent on us and our sansar and our moha maya and all this huge jagat that is there around us. Consciousness is not dependent on it. It is independent. It exists even outside of it, before it, after it, always. And Jagat is dependent. So, a very quick look at verse number 18 of chapter 13, just to glance over the main concepts. It says here, Jyotishamapi tad jyotihi. That consciousness is the light. Tamasah paramochyate, which is beyond darkness. Beyond darkness is a poetic way of saying that it just cannot be extinguished. How can you extinguish something that exists forever? Okay, so it is a bit like the light, which actually the sunlight, which shines on everything. But what are the things that we pick out in the light? We pick out in the light possessions, position, naam, my ego, क्या मुझे पहचाना गया, क्या मेरे काम को सहराया गया, मेरे काम को recognize किया गया कि नहीं. Position and possession seems to be the only things that our attention is on. But that light of consciousness actually is shining on everything, just like sunlight shines on and it reflects off the domes and steeples of churches and synagogues and mosques and gurudwaras and temples. Yes, that sunlight reflects off everything. But that same light also reflects off our diamonds, our diamond rings and our diamond bracelets. The same light reflects off these things too. Therefore, when the light reflects off the domes and steeples of churches and mosques and gurudwaras, we are enchanted because we are reminded. We are reminded of that higher reality, of that higher presence. But when the same light reflects off our diamonds and our jewelry, we are reminded of what? Well, we are reminded of our vanity and our pride in possessing those diamonds and so our vanities and pride and possessions get highlighted by the same light. But the light is the same. It makes no difference to the light. It's just where our attention is. If our attention is on the light which is reflecting off those beautiful domes of the churches and temples, we are reminded of the higher reality. If our attention is only on our possessions, so the example of the diamonds, light on the diamonds is just a way of saying that then that light, in the same light, consciousness is the same, in the same light, we dwell in the sansar by the same light, in and through. If that light of consciousness was not there, we wouldn't even be able to be sentient. Sentient means be able to have the senses to recognize and experience anything. So we recognize the diamonds and experience the possessions and positions of our life. It's by the same sentient presence, by the same consciousness. So number 19, the verse goes on to say, Iti kshetra tatha jnanam jneyam choktam samasatah. So Krishna says to Arjun, so briefly, now I have explained to you briefly samasatah, that this is the knowledge about kshetra, kshetragyam, prakriti, purusha, matter and spirit. And in simple words, I have stated to you that in consciousness there is no matter. There is no, because matter is too sthula, it is too solid to be hanging around in consciousness. It cannot. Of course, it lives because of it. In consciousness, there is no matter. And what about matter? Matter by itself cannot be sentient. It cannot by itself. The table is also matter. That piece of iron lying there is also matter. That lamppost is also matter. And my body is also matter, of course. Ask any doctor under the surgeon's knife. For him, it is just a body of certain organs and blood and flesh and cells and bones and marrow. It's just matter. Or at the operation table, the doctor doesn't see anything except matter. In fact, one of the oncologists who was slightly philosophical in his mind, he used to say, I have cut up so many bodies and I still wonder where does this sentient, this consciousness reside? Because I know every part of every cell I know through my 40 years of experience of the bodies. Every cell I have cut up and I have examined through the microscope and through the MRI scans. Where do you think this? So that was a thought that was arising in his mind because he saw only matter. Yes, with our eyes which are made of matter, which are sthul eyes, we can see only the sthul world. In order to see that sentient spirit, we need to have a very, very subtle, sentient, very, very subtle mind. And that arises only in meditation. So the doctor probably knew that it's only in meditation that he can have a glimpse of that sentient, that spirit which is beyond matter. Okay. And Bhagwan says, yes, if this is the difference, who are the people who can actually see it? So, yes, of course, those who meditate and those who have created a very subtle mind through meditation. Why through meditation? Because it is in meditation that we go beyond the sthula of world of matter. Slowly our mind is lifted above everything which is engaged in the world of sthula, that is gross matter. And therefore Bhagavan says in a very poetic, sweet way, Mad Bhakta etad dvigyaya. Those people know me, know this conscious spirit, consciousness spirit, who are my devotees. So he sweetly says, just my devotees. That is a bhakti language. So in Gyan language, you know that you have to have a very subtle mind. But in bhakti language, you say, just put your mind on me, says Krishna. Mad bhaktaha etad vigyaya. He says, yes, those people are the ones who can view me, that subtle consciousness. And mad bhavayo papadyate, and such are the people who enter me. That means who settle in me. Which means what? Whose attention is on me. Attention means what? See, if we have a love of the world, then we are not going to be taken to Krishna very soon. Krishna consciousness. Let's call it Krishna consciousness because it encapsulates both the concepts of bhakti as well as Gyan. Krishna consciousness. Very beautiful term which people in ISKCON use. Where is our attention? If our attention is on the world, that is what you gain. If our attention is on Krishna, that is what we gain. So that's why it is said that be very careful what you wish for, because you may get it. It sounds quite paradoxical. Yes, then I should be happy, no? No. Because I should be careful what I wish for, because if I am wishing for only success in the world and name and fame and wealth and possessions and welfare and family and relationships, then I will get only that. Aha. But if I am saying, I want to know the truth beyond that, I want to know my true nature. If it is Atma, then what is the nature of that Atma? Is it Paramatma? Then I want to merge with Paramatma. That is Krishna. I am looking for Krishna. So be careful what you wish for. You wish for possessions and diamonds, you get that. You wish for sansari happiness, you get that and you're happy. Yes, but Bhagavan says you have the capacity to wish for the highest Krishna. And therefore, mad bhava yopapadyate, such people whose attention is on me, they attain me. Now, number 20, Bhagavan says, Prakritim Purushachaiva Vidyanadi Obhavapi. Now, because anything which is created has to end. Anything which has qualities will have changes in those qualities. So, if there are any particular aspect of any vastu, it will change over time. Everything changes over time. But this Purusha, this world of consciousness, of course, does not change because it's not created. It doesn't have a beginning. It doesn't have a beginning. So anything with a beginning will have an end. Like our bodies. Our bodies have a beginning, right? It is the day we were born, so we call it our birthday. But if it has a day of the birth, that means it has a starting point. A starting point always has an ending point. That is a rule, that is a simple law of Prakriti. That law doesn't apply to consciousness, sorry, because consciousness always was, always is, always will be. It's a light which does not get extinguished. Tamasaf paramuchyate, beyond darkness. And but vikaramscha gunaschaiva, in 20th verse it is said, then what is it that is always decaying and disintegrating and changing? Of course, only Prakriti. By now, we are very, very sure about these two. Of course, only Prakriti. Bhagavan says, Vikaram. Vikar means changes and modifications come only in Prakriti, not in the consciousness. Prakriti Sambhavan. Okay. Vikaram Shagunas Chaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavan. So that was established in verse number 20. Moving on, as we are having a quick glance at some of the verses, number 24th verse of 13th chapter says, so what is the result of knowing this Krishna, of merging into this Krishna, of having my attention on Krishna? That is because in meditation we are taken more and more and more into the outer space. It could also be the inner space. Please realize that the inner space that we have when we turn inward is as vast and infinite as the space of the universe. So, probably more. So that infinity is within and outside. One who realizes this. What about that person's life? How does it change? So, verse number 24 of chapter 13, Bhagavan says, Ya evam vetti purusham prakritim cha gunai saha sarvatha vartamanopi nasabhuyo bhijayate. Subconsciously, such a person who realizes Krishna consciousness, he begins to be not affected by sansar. Why? Because consciousness itself is never affected by sansar. It just cannot be. So, for example, it is so subtle that if I throw some mud into the ether meaning that pure space, akash, I throw some mud. What happens? Does that space get muddy? Okay, so I throw some colored water. Does that space either get wet or colored? So it is so subtle that space that it cannot be affected by anything that is so sthula. In the same way, our man and buddhi has so many vikars meaning so many upheavals of emotions, of excitement and sadness and grief and all the things that we go through, ups and downs, everyone goes through it. But these are in the world of matter. Man and buddhi is also in the Vedantic sense put in the world of matter because it's attached to the body is destructible. That consciousness is never touched by our grief. When we say our grief, whose grief are we talking about then? Oh, we are talking about the grief of this body and this mind only. And that consciousness is also ours. So does it also get affected? So going forward, of course, Bhagavan says, it appears as if that consciousness, that Atma, is also suffering with us. It appears so, but it is not so. That will come up later. But how do I reach this highest level of subtlety? It should be so subtle that that place where I reach, my mind reaches away from the world, that I can almost sense Krishna consciousness. So subtle it should be. So Bhagavan says in the 25th verse, yes, of course there are many methods, Arjun. You can reach it. And out of the many methods, you can choose the one according to your capacity, according to your interest, according to your ability to practice. Which one? 25th verse, Bhagavan says, Dhyane Natmani Pasyanti. Of course, you can meditate, and in meditation, when the grip of the sansar, of this Maya world, has been loosened, and it loosens its grip on you, then you can dhyan. Okay, if it is difficult, then and what happens in dhyan? Kechidatmanam atmana. By the self, you recognize the same self. So, by the same self, you recognize the self. That is amazing. That is an amazing experience which can be had only and only in a meditative state. So, Patanjali Yoga is a whole treatise, it's a whole scripture talking about yoga, and then dhyan and samadhi is its culmination. It ends in samadhi, in that deep state where the Atma and Paramatma knows no distinction. So, if this is one method that Krishna has given, then maybe we have to try it. And when we are ready for it. If we are not ready for it, Bhagavan says, Anne Sankhena Yogena. Others go for Gyan. They just read the scriptures, they try to understand through a teacher or a guru or a Mahatma or a Sant, whoever is ready to read the scriptures for them. They try to understand that ultimate truth. Through the mind and thought, they try to reach. Okay, even that is okay. But for that also you need Shraddha. If we are reading and trying to listen to the words with a lot of skepticism, non-belief, disbelief, then it is hard to reach. Anything is hard to reach. If I don't have faith that this multinational company where I want to apply for a job, it's not a very good company, naturally my heart will not be in it, and I may not even give a good interview. Anything in the world also requires us to have complete faith in it in order for us to acquire it. So, Sankhya Yoga, Gyan Yoga, listening to the scripture and discussing it and raising our doubts. Doubts are not disbelieving doubts, but doubts which come from questioning and inquiry. Then he says, yes, even Krishna says to Arjun, fine, you can go for Sankhya Yoga, or if you find that difficult, just do Karma Yogena Chapare. 25th verse, last line, 13th chapter, Karma Yogena. Why? How is it that Karma Yoga will reach me to that highest level? Because if we do Karma Yoga of that highest level, then it will. What is the Karma Yoga of the highest level? Where there is no ego, there is no self. Every action that I am doing and every intention that I have for that action is not for my own pleasure, for my own happiness, for my own gain. It is just offered. The action is just offered to God, to society, to community, to others as a duty, and I am untouched and free from my own karma. Is it possible for you to do Karma Yoga of that highest level? If yes, then of course you can attain the highest subtle truth. So, Bhagavan says, sure, you can try Gyan Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyan Yoga. ध्यान भी लगा सकते हैं. Now these are not watertight compartments. मैं तो ये ध्यान करता हूँ भाई और कुछ नहीं. No, you will find all the Mahatmas and all the Swamis who are there in the temples and mutts where we go and learn our scriptures. They do all of these things. In fact, they do Upasana also, Puja also, which is coming up next. They do all that. They will do dhyan in the morning, they will take classes, they will prepare new students and new brahmacharis, give them the gyan. They also reflect on the gyan. These are not watertight. They all have to be done together in whatever measure we can, whatever capacity we have. So there may be some rishis up in the Himalayas who have the capacity to meditate for 18 hours. So that doesn't mean that they don't read the scriptures. So it's just how much of something we will be doing, that is the path. But we do them all together, by the way. We can do community service, we attend to all the needs of our duties, and yet we try to shake off that I, me, my, mamatva from all our duties. That is also Karma Yoga. We do it every day. And then we come and study also few hours, Jnana Yoga. And then we are going to try and learn the art and the fine art of Dhyan. So it goes together. It goes together. Although Bhagavan has mentioned different paths, they are all the paths which we can practice for the same. What about those who can't practice any of these? So verse number 26. Anye tvema janantah shrutvanyebhya upasate. There are some others, simple-minded folk, simple ordinary folk who don't have access to scriptures, who are not literate. Literate meaning they may have literacy for the normal functioning in the world, but not the literacy to understand scriptures. Then they listen to the words of the Mahatma, some rishi, some sant, some guru, some teacher. Mahatma के शब्द उन्होंने सुन लिए. महात्मा ने बोला ये this is the truth, और ऐसे आपको जीना है, ऐसे आपको अपना स्वभाव रखना है, एकदम शुद्ध सात्विक, and this is the quality of sattvic life. कर्मयोग ऐसे करना है, कृष्ण आप ही के पास हैं. महात्मा तो बहुत कुछ कहते हैं. So these simple folk, you know what they do? न ध्यान, न ज्ञान, न कर्म. They just have complete shraddha and they say whatever the Mahatma says, we will just do it. Bhagavan says even those who do this simple upasana, they worship the higher truth by just listening to the words of the Mahatma. They start upasate, start worshipping. Last word on the first line is upasate. Yes, even worship can lead to me. Tepi chatitarantyeva. Even those will cross. Even such people will cross. Cross what? Cross this bhavasagar. Mrityun shruti parayanaha. They will go across mrityum shruti parayanaha. They are what kind of people? Just shruti parayan. I listen to the words of Mahatma, I catch hold of it, and he says that you have to shake off your anger and calm and krodh and don't do desire driven actions. Okay Mahatma, I am doing it, I'll do it, I'll try my best. I want to reach Krishna in whatever way you guide me. Simple people, Bhagavan says, yes, they worship me also. And they can certainly, Shruti Parayan people will also go beyond death. Now beyond death here means just to cross over this whole cycle of birth and death over and over again. So all the words that are heard from the authority of a Mahatma, they just follow simple. Now Bhagavan says, I have told you these many paths, and 27th verse Bhagavan says that what exactly is your ultimate goal? At least you should know that. So, yavat sanjayate kinchita sattvam sthavara sangamam. In all things, just know that your goal is in that higher presence, consciousness, which is there in everything, moving and unmoving. It's there in everything. Kshetra kshetragya samyogam. Samyogat tadvidhi bharatarshabha. It is from the union of Prakriti and with consciousness. When they unite, that you have the knower, the field of the being, a creature who is able to experience anything in the world, that experiencer. It comes only when these two tattva come together. Actually, there is nothing else in this entire universe. Only Prakriti and Purush, matter and spirit. When they come together and they unite, some yogam, when there is a unity or a union between them, then you have this world of experience, the sansar. And otherwise, there is only one truth. That single one truth is Purusha, consciousness. So this one self which is indicated everywhere, it is avyayam everywhere. Verse number 28. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu, in all beings. Bhuteshu means beings. Sarveshu, in all. Samam, equally. Samam, I am equally present in every being. Samam sarveshu bhuteshu tishthantam parameshwaram. I exist in all as the Supreme Lord. So which tirtha should I do in order to find that truth? Which tirtha or pilgrimage should I undertake to find that truth? No, you don't have to take a pilgrimage or a tirtha or some kind of a penance. No, it is present everywhere, samam, equally. Vinashyatva vinashyantam, vinashyatva vinashyantam, yapaschati sapaschati. I am only present in and through everyone, but I, as Krishna consciousness, I am present in everyone as only that which is indestructible. That means मुझ में ऐसी कोई चीज है जो कभी विनाश, जिसका विनाश कभी नहीं होता? हाँ है. That is you. So I am that truth. Vinashyatva vinashyantam, vinashyatva vinashyantam. I am there not only in everyone but equally in everyone, and that is indestructible. So I am indestructible. Yes, of course you are. That is what Nachiket was told by Lord Yama, the god of death, that you are actually immortal. But we are associated with our mortal body. The mortal body is just a vehicle, just a car in which we are traveling. And then we say, oh, meri car toot gayi, and then there is great grief and sorrow. But why? That was only a vehicle for the soul. So that indestructible is in everyone. Yes. So every Atma is actually immortal, undying. Yes, Bhagavan has said it in chapter 2. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. No one can kill it. No disease, no old age, no war, no murder, no sword. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. No one can kill it. It is indestructible. Then Bhagavan says, ये वाला truth, ये truth जिसने पहचान लिया ना, यह पश्चति सपश्चति. Oh, how beautiful it sounds. यह पश्चति सपश्चति means the one who sees this sees the truth. उसको बस इतना समझ में आ जाए कि हम सब में समम, equally, एक विनश्यंतम, अनपेरिशिंग, इम्पेरिशेबल एक सत्य है जो सब में है. बस इतना सा समझ में आ जाए, उस सत्य को वो पकड़ ले, सपश्चति, या पश्चति सपश्चति, तब he will be beyond grief. He will not know any sorrow. You see, Arjun's problem was only sorrow about death. Oh, my cousins, oh, my uncles, oh, my dear ones, they're going to die. Yeah, so what? Krishna said in chapter 2, so what? So it's like your car is going to go for scrap. Yes, sooner or later my car has to go to the scrap yard, and all the metal and all will be separated from the rubber and the engine and the oil, and it will go for recycling, and then the motor parts will be reassembled in some other company, and hey, brand new car. Exactly, we are going just for reassembling again into Vasamsi Jirnani Navani Dehi, a new body and a new clothes. How can anyone, Krishna is telling Arjun, if you are Jnani, if you have this Jnana, how can you ever feel sad? How can you ever know sorrow? A Jnani can never know grief because he has already seen the Satya of this world. That there is an imperishable in everything, and that imperishable is the only truth and the only Satya. And what am I grieving about? I am grieving about the loss and destruction of this or that person, Vyakti, Vastu, Paristhiti, Ghatna, situation. Oh, this has changed, that has changed, that one has died, someone else is dying. Bhagavan says, oh, your mind is on Prakriti, my dear. On Prakriti, if you keep your mind, it will toss up and down. So, yapashchati, sapashchati. And if everyone, all of us had a different source of Atma, then there would be so many truths. But truth is only one, and that is indivisible. So, That is why it applies equally to in all of us, that same truth. Just like, and my favorite example of course is the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi is powering all our devices across the world. अभी अमेरिका से जुड़ रहे हैं हमारे फ्रेंड्स, कनाडा से जुड़ रहे हैं, हम जुड़ रहे हैं यहाँ से वहाँ से, कोई घर में है, कोई बाहर है, कोई इस देश में, कोई उस देश में. अरे बट वाईफाई, द क्वालिटी ऑफ वाईफाई विच इज पावरिंग अस, क्या हम कह सकते हैं कि मेरा वाईफाई बड़ा रंगीन है, बहुत महान है, इसका महत्व है? अरे वाईफाई द क्वालिटी इज द सेम, इट कैन नॉट बी महान और नॉट महान. So that's what we do with our gods. मेरे भगवान महान है, मेरा religion महान है. So how can it be possible? How can it be possible when we read the words of Bhagwan who says, Samam sarveshu bhuteshu, equally I am available to everyone. So maybe next life I may be a Jew born in Israel, and another life after that I may be following a very ancient religion of Shintoism in ancient Japan. Yes, so these distinctions and diversities are visible to us because we are floating and dwelling only in the outside world, in the world of matter, in a very superficial way. तो हमको सिर्फ waves ही waves दिख रही हैं. Depth of the ocean तो दिख ही नहीं रहा कि अरे वही सत्य waves में भी है, वही सत्य bottom of the ocean में भी है. Millions and millions of miles below the surface of the ocean, वो वही पानी, वो वही है, तत्व वही है, हमको नहीं दिख रहा है. Because I am splashing about on the surface, superficial, दुनिया में, seeing only the outer, the visible world. Okay, so number 29, Bhagwan says, you know, if you are going to lead a life like this, then you are doing great damage. Acha, damage to whom? Damage to yourself. And this life, the single one life that I have given you of 80, 90, 100 years, you are destroying it. How? Verse number 29. Samam paschyan hi sarvatra samavasthitamishwaram nahinasthyatmanatmanam tato yati param gatim. Indeed, the one who sees the same Lord, the same Krishna consciousness in everything and dwelling in everything, that person of course is not destroying himself by himself. Otherwise, we who don't see this oneness in everything, we are hanastyatma manatmanam. We are destroying ourselves by ourselves. We don't need another person to destroy us. What are these two things? How are we destroying ourselves? We are destroying ourselves in two ways. One is with a mithya gyan. Mithya gyan means wrong ज्ञान. मेरा ज्ञान इस वक्त क्या है? इस वक्त मेरा ज्ञान है कि मैं ये बॉडी हूँ, and I am a person who has these achievements and this family background and this ancestral lineage and this community and nationality and religion and so many things we have attached to this piece of matter, this flesh and bones. We have made a big baggage out of it. Mera religion, meri nationality, mera family, my lineage, my surname, my this. Okay, fine. Now, mithya gyan is that because of I understand myself as a body, my lifestyle is around the body, mind and intellect, that this body and mind is going to satisfy my sensory desires. So all sensory satisfactions are going to come from this body. Yeah, they do, but only sensory level happiness comes now. So what happens to my lifestyle with this mithya gyan? Mithya gyan, simple words, wrong gyan. Wrong gyan means my whole lifestyle changes with the wrong gyan. So with that gyan, I become materialistic. I don't see the light of God shining on the tops of the temple steeples and Viman they call it, the steeples of temples and domes of churches. I see the same light twinkling off my diamond ring and I gloat in my vanity and pride, yes, I become materialistic because my Gyan is mithya. First mistake. And therefore all my pursuits in this sansar also become naturally self-centered, swakendrit, कि मुझे मिल जाए बस ये सब कुछ. So all my satisfactions. This is how we destroy ourselves, as if we are thinking as if we are only the body. Wrong Gyan. Second way we destroy ourselves is not having the right Gyan, which we can say Agyan. तो फिर अज्ञान की वजह से भी हम अपने को डिस्ट्रॉय करते हैं. कितने लोग हैं हमारे आसपास, इर्द गिर्द, दे हैव लिव्ड अ लाइफ एंड दे हैव हैड अ वेरी नॉर्मल, हैप्पी इन अ मटेरियल वे, हैप्पी materialistic life, and they have gained a lot, and people praise them for their efforts and their gain and their purusharth and their karma. Yes, great. But if they have left this body without even having heard what is the truth, the ultimate truth, then that one life is wasted, because they have to hear it, they have to learn it at some point or the other, in several lives, in some life or the other. So this agyan means not knowing that this Parmeshwar is everywhere. I don't recognize it. I mean, of course, I don't recognize because I don't see, but I don't even believe it. So no belief, no Shraddha, no listening, no Shravan, no recognition of that highest Parmeshwar. So इस अज्ञान में हम आए हैं, उसी अज्ञान में हम इस दुनिया को छोड़ के चले जाएंगे. That Bhagavan says is a waste of your life. He's saying, those who come to me, tato yanti param gatim, they come to the supreme truth. Who? Those who have not wasted their life. Na hinastyatma natmanam. See, na लिखा है, जो जिन्होंने वेस्ट नहीं किया है ये लाइफ. सो उन्होंने तो पहले बोल दिया था कि समम पश्यन्ति सर्वत्र. फर्स्ट लाइन में बोल दिया कि equally I appear in everything, one consciousness which is projected as so many beings or things or creatures. Just like through a prism, it's one single beam of light which is focusing or passing through the prism. But on the other side of the prism where we are standing, we see a refraction of so many colors and so many beams. And we say, yahi sansar hai. The Shastras are telling us, arey nahi, come with me. I will take you, I will walk you around behind the prism and I will show you कि वहाँ वो that one single beam of light किसकी है. And it is one single light, one consciousness, one Paramatma, one God, one Allah. No matter what the name is, it has to be one. And that one light, come, I will show you. Gently the scriptures are walking us around behind the prism to say, Arey, you were standing in front of the prism and you saw this refraction of so many colors and you thought this is the truth. No, it is only a refraction. That means I consciousness, I'm single, I shine through so many bodies, so many nationalities, so many people, high and low, but I am the same. So what is it that we are seeing from the other side, the sansari side of the prism? We see the horrid noise of the world with all its diversities and all its emotional upheavals, all that horrid noise. Yes, we see it. Bhagavan says, come, I will show you a very shant, quiet, single place. Single. Why is the mind not disturbed there? Because there is only one truth. There is one Paramatma. There is one. And my mind then remains on that one. When my mind is not scattered into many, it is shant. And therefore that is the abode of supreme silence and peace. Come, I will take you there. He says, Tato yanti param gatim. That is the supreme place where I can take you. But provided samam paschyanti sarvatra, one who sees my presence in everything, everywhere, sarvatra, then only you can save yourself by yourself. In chapter 6 also Bhagavan had said, who can save you? He had said, Arey, you are your own best friend, you are your own worst enemy. No one outside can destroy you spiritually. Of course, there will be the people who can take away something materially from you and there can be loss. But that is only at the material level. Spiritually, you are your own friend or your worst enemy. How had he said it? In 6.5, 6th chapter, Uddheratmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet. Lift yourself by yourself. Nothing else Nothing. By your bootstraps, just pick yourself up. Only you can do it. Atmaiva hya Yatmano bandhuhu. You are your best friend. Atmaiva ripuratmanaha. Ripu. You are also your worst enemy. Depends on how you treat your own life. So basically, we are capable of destroying our spiritual life only by mithya gyan, wrong gyan about that material world is everything, and agyan. What is that highest truth? Is there a highest truth? Uska agyan. Mithya gyan and agyan will destroy us. Now, why is it that we can become our own enemies? Ripuratmanaha. Manaha. Because intellectually we understand a lot. Intellectually it seems crystal clear. Ab samajh mein aa gaya. Krishna consciousness, Purusha and Prakriti, world of matter. But intellectually समझ में आया ना, इमोशनल जोन में देखिए क्या हो रहा है. इमोशनल जोन थोड़ा भी कोई प्रोवोक कर दे and we are tortured by what? We are tortured by our attachments, raga, by our expectations, asakti, by our dislikes, dvesha, and by our desires, kama. Raga, dvesha, asakti and kama are the stuff of which our emotional zone is made up of. And say, yes, I've read the scriptures, but my emotional zone is still racked by these. That's where the change has to take place. That it is our emotional life which is actually shaping our actions and thoughts. मुझे जब राग, द्वेष and desires and asakti and attachments घेरे रहते हैं, तो मेरे actions भी उसी से प्रेरित होते हैं. My actions are driven by those things, and my actions will make my swabhava, habitual action. My swabhava makes my personality character, and that personality character leaves an imprint, leaves an impression for the next life, and the next life will be just there. If I'm materialistic, then so be it. If I'm striving to have a subtler mind and reach the Krishna consciousness, then so be it in the next life. My destiny in the next life is being shaped right now by what I think, what I feel, how I react. My actions becomes my swabhava, my personality, and my next birth. My destiny is shaped right now. Of course, we have talked about it before, but this can't be overemphasized enough, because our emotional zone and intellectual zone seem to be functioning on a separate plane. जैसे कि मंदिर में दिया जलाते हैं, तो वो मंदिर में बहुत अच्छे से दिया जलता है, और उसी को मंदिर में से दिया जलाया हुआ हम मंदिर से बाहर जैसे ही निकले, मंदिर के गेट के बाहर सड़क पर पांव रखा, एंड द विंड ऑफ संसार ब्लो इट ऑफ. वो दिया जब हम सत्संग में पकड़े रहते हैं, एंड एवरीथिंग सीम्स सो ब्यूटीफुल, कृष्णा कॉन्शियसनेस, यस कृष्णा, आई हैव बिलीफ इन यू, और हम उतने सत्संग तक या पूजा तक या उपासना तक जो भी कर रहे हैं, whatever sadhana we are doing, the moment we step out into the world, that same diya held in our hand is blown off by the wind of sansar. That we have to protect. That protection is what is sadhana. That intellectual effort plus emotional effort, because the mind or the emotions are most of the time not clear. They are fogged up with grief or ugly reactions or resentments or anger or vengefulness. उसने ऐसा क्यों किया, मैं तो करके बताऊंगा. और competitiveness, इसके पास है तो मैं भी करके बताऊंगा. Comparisons, these are fogging up. यानी they are like smoke. I can't see reality clearly. I can't see भगवान clearly. इतना धुआं है सामने. Therefore, what I have in my mind and my intellect and my emotions is a very fine vehicle. भगवान ने जो दिया है माइंड एंड इंटेलेक्ट बहुत फाइन व्हीकल है. इट्स लाइक आई पोजेस अ मर्सिडीज बेंज, लैम्बोर्गिनी और Hyundai, Honda City, whatever you say, I possess a beautiful vehicle which is of my mind and my intellect. But if that car is not in my control, ग्रीफ में है तो ग्रीफ में घुस जाता है. ग्रीफ इज लाइक अ डिच में साइड में डिच है, बस घुस गया. The vehicle which is not in my control, then the car has no great value for me. It can be a Mercedes, or it can be an auto rickshaw, or it can be an old tractor I borrowed from the farmer. It doesn't matter. I am mounted on it, and it's not in my control. So the fineness and the beauty, or let's say the power of that machine is no good because I'm not in control of it. That's how we destroy ourselves. But those who don't destroy themselves, they are nahinastyaatmanamatmanam, second line of verse 29. So this dual personality that we seem to have na, एक तो intellectual level पर हाँ सब clear है. Anybody can ask me any shloka from Gita. Yeah, very good. But that shloka is like a scholar, like a parrot we are learning. Even me. Is it percolating into our life? Is it becoming part of our life? Do we carry the Krishna with us in our heart even when we are interacting in a noisy, messy world of loss or bereavement or attraction or attachment or attachment? Why? Because attachment is the opposite of not detachment. Attachment is actually the opposite of being attached to something is like being completely in its grip. So that is the kind of world we are living in. Now we can save ourselves by ourselves. It's like saying कि एक बार ध्यान में, deep ध्यान में ये सत्य एक बार समझ में आ गया एकदम deeply. So the lamppost which I thought in the rain when I was driving, it was a ghost. Suddenly I saw that, oh, it was not a ghost. It was okay. In the darkness I thought it was a ghost. Now I can see it's a lamppost. एक बार दिखाई दे दिया ना कि ये lamppost ही था, तो क्या ghost वापस आएगा? Will that ghost come back to haunt you? No. So seeing that truth once is enough. That ghost can never. Ghost means now the ghost is of this sansar, of loss and pain and highs and lows and attachment and rag and dvesh and desire driven actions. वो सब हमको दिख रहा है संसार में, जगत में. That ghost will come back to haunt us if we don't see the satya. But now the question is that this everyone in the world acts differently, behaves differently. So do you think that Parmeshwar is also different in everyone? Strange question, but let's see. Then Parmeshwar also must be different, na? It is coloring everyone differently. So let's see verse number 30. Prakrityaiva cha karmani kriyamani sarvashah. No, Bhagwan says sorry. Parmeshwar or Paramatma is only one. It cannot be different. Yes, everyone appears different and I'm powering them. Like Wi-Fi is powering all our devices, but I may have a tab, you may have a little mobile phone, somebody else may be using a laptop. Even right now, all our devices are different. Some of them may be having a MacBook, a very high-end Apple, and some a very ordinary phone. How does it matter? Our vehicles, that is the Prakriti, matter. Wi-Fi, can you see Wi-Fi? Can you see the Wi-Fi waves? No. Can you see that that from where Wi-Fi is being tapped into my wires? No. The wire which connects to my modem, the router modem? No, I can't see it. So that Wi-Fi, can you cut it up? Not the wire, not the vehicle, but the source of Wi-Fi. Those waves, the waves. Or radio waves, let's call it, or electricity. The examples go on in the world of technology as it develops. Can we cut it up? Can we cut up electricity? Can we wet it? Can we slice up Wi-Fi into blocks, into pieces? No, it is too subtle. So then why are all these devices behaving badly? My phone has no space in it. Now it keeps conking off, and then I have to, even the charging is not enough. It has slowed down. Well, that is the problem of this body of my phone. It is a Prakriti. The Wi-Fi which is powering it right now is as powerful as all the other Wi-Fi that is powering everybody else's devices. But my device, poor thing, it is in bad shape. It is a Prakriti because it's made of matter. So Bhagwan says only Prakriti has action. Karmani. The karmani is actions are done only by Prakriti. Kriyamanani sarvashah. It performs all the actions. That means my mind, my senses are following. Actually, my mind is following my senses. Senses are going out into the world. And who is doing the actions? So I, as a bundle of body, mind, intellect, I am doing all the actions. Ya paschati tathatmanam akartaram sa paschati. But that Atma, that Wi-Fi, is that Wi-Fi now affected by the Google Meet, whatever is happening on the satsang? No. But my mobile is affected by the Google Meet. Why? Because at the back end, when I go later on, I'll find that it has collected a lot of cache data. And it is making my mobile heavy. So it's eating up the MBs. I mean, whatever action, I'm just saying this is an action. One action is for the mobile, that there is a Google Meet satsang going on. Is it affecting the Prakriti, that is the body of the phone, the software or the hardware? Yes. It's collecting cache. I have to go to the back end each time and delete the cache data, otherwise the space just chokes up. Yeah, it's affecting the Prakriti. Action is possible only by Prakriti. My body is doing the actions, my mind is dictating what should be done, my senses are desiring something for which I am doing the actions. But that Atma, that Wi-Fi is not affected by this satsang that's going on, or if I have any spiritual videos or bad videos on my mobile. Wi-Fi is not affected by that. Same way, I am powered by some invisible force which is part of me. Otherwise, I wouldn't be functioning. My phone wouldn't be functioning without Wi-Fi. It wouldn't be able to connect and have this experience of satsang. I cannot have the experience of people and vastu and vyakti and learning and growing and thinking. All that experiences because there is a connection. There is a connection of that Supreme Being in me and in everyone. Samam sarveshu. Sab mein wahi hai equally. But that connected power is not affected by my actions. So who chooses my actions? I choose it. Depending on what? My desires, my attachments, my raga, my dvesha. So who will bear the fruit of all those actions? Prakriti will bear it. If I am born as another being, my Prakriti or my body will bear the karma phala. How do you say that? So look around you. So if there are some people who are suffering from a terminal disease, so that's a kind of a karma phala of something done in many lifetimes before, and we don't even remember. So who is bearing the pain of it? The body of that person who is suffering from disease is suffering now. That is only Prakriti suffering. That person has a choice right now to detach itself from the body like Ramakrishna did and say, hey, yes, my body is going through a terminal disease and it needs to fall and die and is being eaten away by some kind of cancer. Yes, but I don't need to translate the pain of the body into the misery of my mind. That choice I have. And so that Purusha is totally unconnected with what is happening to Prakriti. Suffering? Okay. It's a karma phala of some past action? Okay. What action are you doing now? Okay. Go ahead and do it. So those who see this truth, akartaram sapaschati. Those who see the Paramatma as akarta, the non-actor, that means who I am. My Atma is also the non-actor. It means the real me. That person, paschati, sees the truth. So verse 31, one who sees the truth, then what is his state? What is his condition? Another example, sorry, I'm just going back to the last verse. Another example apart from the mobile is of different cars. So there are different cars and there's the Honda City and Mercedes and Lamborghini and Hyundai, whatever, and Toyota, Corolla. All these cars have these shiny, beautiful bodies, and when I buy them, can they function without the power of petrol? No. So what is powering all of them? They all look so different. They have different power. Power meaning capacity, sorry. 4 engine, double engine, and bigger engine, whatever. The capacity is different, like different minds, a strong mind, a Tiksha mind. But they are all powered by petrol. What about petrol? Is the petrol responsible for your bad driving, uncontrolled driving, sloppy driving, smart driving, highway driving? Of course not. The petrol is not responsible for it. So when the car is in good condition, which means that it has been serviced well, the clutch and the brake and all the functions have been kept in very good condition. Same also for our body, our mind and our intellect, which are serviced regularly and kept in a good condition with the sadhana of satsang and swadhyay and studies and tapa and yagya, self-control and shraddha. This is the servicing of the body, of our vehicle. When we are servicing it well, then it will function properly. It will not go out of control. A badly serviced car will someday crash into deep grief or deep sorrow or deep anger or deep resentment, or like Duryodhan, deep jealousy. That's a badly serviced car. What is not serviced? That the Kama, Krodha, Mada, Lobha, Moha is not serviced. So in the car, my clutch and my brake, etc., functions have to be, all the functions have to be serviced. If it meets with an accident, the car, what does the mechanic do? The mechanic is going to check. Did your brakes fail? What happened to the clutch? Oh, what about your gearbox? It got stuck. It is not going to check the petrol, for God's sake. Because the accident was not caused by any action of the petrol. Therefore, what is powering us is consciousness. It is not responsible for our karma. We may choose bad karma, or our karma phala. Who is responsible? We. We as in this jiva which goes on into new bodies. So jiva. But the Paramatma is not responsible. So all our reactions and all the actions of the car are possible if the petrol is there. But the petrol is not responsible for any of those actions. How it is used, how the car is used. And we have been given actually an excellent car, a vehicle which has been given by God. We have to be eternally grateful. A vehicle which can sit up, which can meditate, which can sit for an hour, which can listen and concentrate, swadhyay, satsang. So much is available to us, and our car is able to take that journey, car of this body. Many of the cars are not able to do it, many bodies and minds. And yet, if we don't head towards God, then God help us. So, why is that petrol or that consciousness not responsible for our actions? Because actions are perishable, and our consciousness is not perishable. That's why Bhagavan says, recognize me, Krishna consciousness, as akarta. Akarta sapaschati. That's verse number. Akartaram sapaschati, verse number 30. Now, 31, Bhagavan goes on to say, what is the state? What is the condition? What kind of a person is the one who actually sees this truth of me, not just as this body, but as an ansh of Bhagavan himself, that imperishable, untouched, pure. I am that. And immortal, of course, eternal. So, the condition of such a person we will see next time. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om.